to video number 2 of overviews for board games that I enjoy playing and hopefully we'll get to enjoy playing with children. This is going to be an overview of Fallout, the board game. This is a 1 through 4 player game designed by Andrew Fisher and Nathan Hajek. Hope I said that right. It is based in the Fallout universe, and it actually has a lot of the lore that does exist in many of the Fallout video games. I'm sure you've heard of them, or maybe you've even played them on a console or on PC. Published by Fantasy Flight Games. It is a competitive game. It is not cooperative, though they did come up with an expansion called New California that allows for some co-op. However, since it is a 1 through 4 player game, I can play it by myself or I can play it with other people, which is really nice. Now, the game has had a little bit of shtick from certain people online, specifically on the Board Game Geek website, saying that the game is really good as it starts, but abruptly ends. Now, I haven't had this issue myself. I've only played it solo. I've played through a couple of scenarios. I've won and I've lost, and they've been mostly my own doing. So I don't have any negative things to say about it for the moment. I wouldn't know anything about it. I did, however, print out a couple of the variants just in case, and I also printed out an unofficial co-op rule set, which, again, just in case, I prefer those over the competitive nature of the Fallout, or maybe the kids wanted to play co-op and don't want to be competitive about it. That's also fine. That's something that I would be willing to do, just so that I can get this game on the table and play it with them. It's a really fun game. I like it a lot. Let's take a look inside the box and look at some of the components that it has. All right, as you can see, these are the variants that I have printed out. I also printed out a quick reference sheet for everybody to look at. It is on the Board Game Geek website. You should be able to find it without any trouble. This is another one. This is one of the Scorium variants, which a lot of people like to use because it stops the game from abruptly ending while you're playing through different quest lines. This is that unofficial board game co-op rule set that I was talking about. And there is no components that I have bought that were not in this game. So everything that you're seeing here will be present in the retail version of this. Here's the rules reference. And here's a really neat learn to play. Pretty easy to follow. It sets everything up. The only thing that I kind of did not like very much is how it gets the solo rules into the mix once you start wanting to play solo. So it'll have you resolve everything. It tells you how to fight, it tells you how to shop, it tells you how to do everything in the game. And then towards the very end, it has this little section right here that tells you how to solo play. It's okay. I think it would have been nice if it would have been its own little tiny rule set instead of having all of this right here, but it is what it is. Not too bad. Here's some of the components. You have to build these yourself. Not hard. I did have some trouble getting these plastic tabs in. They weren't the easiest to get through. They were really tight. I was actually a little bit worried that I would end up bending these boards, but luckily that didn't happen. I was just really careful about it. Oh, and I did lie. I do have some really nifty little containers in here that I'm using. Here's the scenario sheets. Here's your different plastic pieces. I did put some of the components of the original survivors that you're gonna have. This is just special tokens that they use, that they start with, and I just didn't put them in with the regular tokens. It took me too long to find them last time, and now I just separate them. Here are all the map tiles. There's quite a bit. It's pretty worthwhile knowing that they shift around while you're playing. So while you're putting them down and you flipping them over, it's a little bit of a hassle to have to flip them over and the whole thing moves and your whole map will kind of shift, but it's pretty negligible considering the game is fun. It just takes a little bit of the immersion out when you are having to fiddle with these. So not terrible, not bad. They're nice. Fantasy Flight Games quality. Here's some tokens. I got these little containers at Walmart. My wife actually was the one with the idea. She said I should use them. They are actually pretty nifty to have. I just take them out, set them up on the table, and I just use this top part for discard piles. Same thing with these. Here's all these tokens I was talking about. The original ones that the survivors have look exactly like these, except the back end has the symbol of the survivor, and it was just a little bit of a hassle to get them all out. Now, it comes with the survivors right here. They're miniatures, and I'll show you a couple of the miniatures. There's that one. This is the super mutant. He's pretty big. There's a lot of detail on it. It's not flimsy feeling. It feels good. I like the miniature. I'm gonna paint these eventually. They feel nice and sturdy. I like that. Here's the Vault Dweller survivor right here. Let me show you that right there. If it'll focus. Come on, buddy. There it is. So again, detail's pretty good. It's not terrible. This isn't the miniatures game, so definitely not bad. Here we have some of the card stock. These are the mini European cards. I did get these off the Board Game Geek website. You can get them out, print them, cut them, and then get them laminated. That's what I've done. They're really useful. They're not needed. And again, I did use the original cardboard that was inside the game box originally, and I made myself just a little thing there so that I could hold the stuff, so that I could store it vertically, and I am able to do that with this setup. Here's some nice dice. They're not super high quality. There's 3 of them. They're not bad. Components there, different monsters, different quest, what are these, quest markers. These are conditions and statuses, and then these are factions. And the way the game sets up, now that we're getting to the factions, the way the game sets up is you'll have all these different tiles on there that you start off with, and as you flip them over, you have these random symbols here, and you spawn monsters on there. That's where you spawn the monsters, and you also spawn monsters there once the monsters have been defeated. And the scenario actually will have you set up with different factions, and I'll go ahead and show you one of those right now, one of those cards, so you can take a look. This one right here is Far Harbor, and as you can see, there's Fog Condenser and Fog, and you have Far Harbor, and you have the Children of Adam. And this basically just tells you, all right, you're gonna have your faction set up here, and the factions will move down. Now, what you can make the game longer, and I'll give you this right now. You can make the game longer because as you're getting the quests, you can move certain factions down faster. And as the faction moves down, you'll have, you know, a couple of spaces. And once your timer runs out based on the influence cards, only one side will move down. In solo play, in competitive, both of them move down at the same time, and you're trying to get points based on what faction you're with, or the quests that you've accomplished, or the amount of influence cards that you have. The influence cards have different things on them, like whether you have drugs on the character's inventory, or if you have companions, or if you have full items. There's also one for having all the special tokens, and the leveling track looks it's neat. You put the tokens down, and as you level up, your XP moves up to where all your special tokens are. And then once you make it back to the other side, then you'll level up again. And that's basically the level up scheme. The game plays nicely. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours of playtime. It fits on my tiny lifetime table that I have in my room, so I am able to play it, you know, in the evening once the kids are gone to bed and everything seems pretty winded down. I'm not chucking a bunch of dice all the time, so I'm not making too much noise. The baby sleeps in the room, so that's also really nice. I enjoy playing the game a lot. I really hope that I can play this with the children. I want them to be able to experience the Fallout universe without having to go through video games. And doing it this way might actually be able to bring up some discussion about what they think is going on, and you know, get them immersed into the world that is the Fallout universe. I've played their video games since Fallout 3, and I really enjoyed them. My wife really likes the Fallout universe too. I can hope she gets into this as well. She really likes Eldritch Horror, and Eldritch Horror uses a lot of the mechanics that they've built into this game as far as the narration goes, because as you're pulling these cards out right here, they're numbered, and it's basically an adventure book. You finish one and then it tells you to bring out separate cards, and you're doing this over and over until you get to the end and you're done with that quest. And it's usually another quest, or if it ends completely, there's no time that I have been out of quests or out of opportunities to go exploring or out of opportunities to go find out what's going on. You can even become a synth at one point, or you can become a super mutant depending on what's going on in the quests. Playing solo is a little bit hard as far as making decisions. I'll pull one up just so you can see. Now, when you're not playing solo, get this thing to go. When you're not playing solo, somebody, and I don't remember, I think it's to your left or to your right, but they will read you your options. Now, if you see here, this one says forced if you're a synth. So if you have the synth condition, this happens. If not, then you have these two options. And as you can see, this one has a test. If you pass the test, you have success and a fail. And this one here is just, you just go shop. So you're not supposed to know what happens. So as somebody reads this to you, you're kind of wondering, all right, what should I do? And you go from there. But in a solo game, you try your best not to read through them. I'm guilty of reading through them just because I'm curious about it, and I try not to, but that's really hard to do. That doesn't really work out for me very well. Now, with the setup that I have here, I'm able to store the game vertically. As you can see, this is basically a rebox right here. And let me see here. I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but let me see. How did I have this? No, I'm not gonna be able to do it while I'm doing a video. There we go. Okay, so basically just put everything in here like that. If you don't have these containers, you can use plastic baggies, which is what I've done in Eldritch Horror. And I use the tiles that you have, or you can, I'm using the player boards right there to kind of push this down, hold it in place. Now, I use the reference material, the Learn to Play in the rule set, to put on top, and I'm actually going to put it up like this so that it's over the cards right there. I'm going to go ahead and put my printed out stuff from Board Game Geek. So I'm going to put it on there like that. I'm going to go ahead and put the top of the box on. And so I should be able to do that. I should be able to turn it over without anything falling all over the place. So I'll go ahead and open it up again so you guys can see. And there you have it. Hardly anything's moved out of place. Still nice and neat and organized. So I'm gonna go put this back on my shelf vertically, and it'll save me a little bit of space. I actually like that better. So what age group do I think this is gonna be for? I think most kids can play it. I mean, Super Mutants, okay. There's some Raiders, which is basically thugs. All right, you know. Big bugs, that's fine. Who's gonna be scared of some bug tokens? The quest lines themselves, they are not gruesome or specific. There's just options, and there's you pass, you fail, you get run out of town, you take damage. So the wording in most of everything that I've ran into doesn't seem to have anything that would trigger my parental instinct of, oh, this is probably too much. So this is gonna come out and be played with all my kids. And my youngest is 7. My 2 nieces that play with me are 11 and 10. So this is definitely gonna play with them. This isn't something that I'm not gonna, or that I'm gonna shy away from as far as playing with the family. So the only drawback is it is only 1 through 4 players. If my wife decides to play, either I can sit out and just kind of be a game manager and let them, you know, go through quests, and I can be the one that reads all the cards, and that would be kind of fun too. I can be the monsters, and I'd be totally fine with that. So I recommend this for anybody that wants to play with their kids. They want to get into the Fallout universe. They want to do a little bit of RPG gaming, because this game does allow you to get perks. It allows you to get those tokens. Those tokens allow you to do extra things when you're using different weapons, when you're using different abilities, when you're doing certain checks. So it's really fun, and I want them to experience it, and I probably will play with them. Thank you for watching this episode of Fallout Overview. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and go ahead and leave any comments if you want to see me do a playthrough maybe with the kids one time around, or one go around or whatever, and I hope you get on board.